Hello everyone, it's Charlton. Please subscribe to my channel. Tap the notification bell. I'd appreciate it majorly. So, Alex Cox pictured right there, and there's a new report on him of a previous incident. You know, he's the one who allegedly shot and killed Lori Vallow's previous husband, Charles Vallow, supposedly in self-defense when he came to pick up JJ at Lori's home in Chandler, Arizona. Get to that in a little bit. So, but there's a new development. It's a story of and it's not speculation, where he had a previous incident with the husband before Charles Vallow, Joseph Ryan, who everyone's fairly familiar with because Joseph Ryan is Tylee Ryan's father. I mean, this is about the two missing kids from Idaho, J.J. Vallow, Joshua Vallow, and Tylee Ryan, and the mom and stepdad whose whereabouts is unknown as well. And they're both persons of interest. There's still no, I don't think, actual announcement of indictments or charges or anything like that. So, but it just keeps going, kind of going on. And every day there's a new development where just something else comes up. So, this previous incident involved Joseph Ryan, who, that's the first time I had seen a picture of him, who's pictured right there. That's Tylee's father, and also he adopted Lori Vallow's eldest son, who at one point had made some YouTube videos and maybe even spoke to a couple reporters about, just pleading for wanting Tylee and JJ to be safe and wanting to know that they're okay. And he's kind of gone dark now. He's taken a lot of his stuff down. Anyways, so but he has the same last name as Joseph Ryan, but even though he was adopted by Joseph Ryan. So this incident, which is very odd, and apparently Alex Cox, came at him with like a stun gun, with like a taser, a handheld stun gun, and shocked him multiple times, which eventually led to him pleading guilty to, I believe, aggravated assault in the second degree, and spent 90 days in jail, in a Texas jail, in I think Travis County, Texas. So apparently, actually, and I'll just briefly paraphrase the incident, Joseph Ryan was actually dropping Tylee Ryan, their daughter, after they had basically come to an agreement, a custody agreement, and there was an exchange to take place, and he was dropping Tylee off at that specified location, and as he was coming out of there after dropping Tylee off, he according to the affidavit, he claims he sees a man sitting under a tree, and then that man comes up to him and says, "Do you remember me?" Something like that, and then he goes to pull something out of his pocket, and he immediately gets alarmed because he thinks he's going to pull a gun, and even as he does pull it out and goes at him, he still doesn't know exactly what it is, and as he runs away, he gets shocked, and then I think he gets it falls to the ground and gets shocked a second time, continues to run from the individual, so Alex Cox, to the point where he has to, on foot, run away from him to, around the corner until somebody else, spotted them, him chasing after the other person. At that point, he kind of fled the scene. But eventually, I believe he pled guilty to it. And like I said, spent 90 days in jail for aggravated assault in the second degree, And in the affidavit, it states that Joseph Ryan stated that he feared for his life. And this was several years prior to everything. I mean, Joseph Ryan died in April of 2018 in Arizona, incidentally. I guess that was to be close to his daughter, probably. But this incident happened in Travis County, Texas, and I believe, Lori was married to Joseph Ryan in Texas, and Charles Vallow is from Texas as well. So a lot of this life story happened in Texas before Arizona. But this happened in 2007 is when this incident took place. So that's pretty much that. And there's actually, there's a report here, and I'll play a little bit of it, that actually has Alex Cox, because supposedly he worked for, I think, on a morning show on a radio station. and they spoke with somebody he worked with alongside on that radio show, a producer or something like that, who said he was actually a nice guy, and a charming, nice guy. I have no idea, but that's what she said, and that he was an aspiring comedian, and I think he did like voices, cartoon character voices or something like that. But he's in here real quick.
I'm Alex, and I'm gonna be Looney Tunes.
An aspiring stand-up comedian specializing in cartoon impressions, Kathy Dean remembers Alex Cox as the funny guy she met while producing a morning radio show. She's shocked to hear about his death.
In all impressions, he was a good-looking, funny guy. Like I said, charming and...
Fox 10
So in any event, in that picture there, which is the same as this picture there, I don't know how old he is there. I don't know how that exactly compares to this picture. I mean, that's, even though he has the exact same Puma shirt on, I think that's just a coincidence, I believe. So I think this is several years forward, and apparently he is 51. I'm not absolutely convinced of that, but apparently I think the records show that, but I don't know if that's just age or something else going on that's why his appearance looks different. And maybe it's just age. Who knows? I don't know, It's also crazy. So, but I do not think that, I just don't understand why would these deaths happen? What is the reason? And there's got to be a motive. And I just don't necessarily buy into the fact that somebody's doing it for religious cult type reasons. I think there's a money motive, and I'm trying to figure out where the money's coming from, because I don't see it. It's the only place I could see it is life insurance. That's the only place I could see where the money would originate from, other than some illegal means. If there was illegal, some kind of illegal business going on that we wouldn't know about anyways. But I don't see the money. I don't see the money there, in their lifestyles, So, and I'll sort of get to that in a second. I mean, if Charles Vallow was doing really well financially, if he was well off, Lori Vallow could have just divorced him. She would have got half of his stuff. I mean, that's how it works, and probably even more, because she could have got full custody of the kids. Maybe not JJ, because he was adopted, and really that was his sister's biological grandson. But nevertheless, I mean, she could have just divorced him and got half of his money if he was well off, which is how he was described by Kay Vallow. Kay Vallow just said he was, he was well off. I think that's the exact words she said, and that he was the golden goose, for them, for Lori, and so. But I don't think so, dude. I don't. From everything I'm looking into, I'll get into that in a second. Well, I think I covered it. Let me just make sure. So it's now been 6 weeks since authorities say a mother who moved her kids from Arizona to Idaho lied about the children's whereabouts and refuses to cooperate. Lori Vallow is currently believed to be on the run with her new husband, Chad Daybell, and her two kids, Tylee Ryan and JJ Vallow. Now we're learning more about Lori's brother, Alex Cox, who is now dead, but not before shooting and killing her fourth husband in self-defense, quote unquote, last summer, according to police. And that's not the only incident he was reportedly involved in with Lori's ex-husbands. Fox 10 obtained an affidavit for the arrest warrant issued for Alex Cox from 2007 in Travis County, Texas. The court documents revealed Lori's brother Alex was accused of threatening to kill her ex-husband. The second incident was at a child custody exchange in Texas, according to court documents. In 2007, Lori and her ex-husband, Joseph Ryan, were exchanging their daughter, Tylee, when Alex followed Joseph into the parking lot, wanting to talk. There, he allegedly shocked him with a stun gun and threatened to kill him. Joseph was able to escape. The next year, he pleads guilty to an aggravated assault charge in the second degree and served 3 months in jail. Joseph died in 2018 from a heart attack. 12 years later, Chandler police say Alex shot and killed Lori's fourth husband, Charles Vallow, in self-defense. So, you know what? I haven't even seen this. It says him doing Looney Tune impressions.
Go ahead and whisper it. I'm Alex, and I'm gonna be Looney Tunes.
Elmer Fudd, Daffy Duck, and Bugs Bunny.
But I haven't got a Flickazee and Wabbit's license. Don't go anywhere, Daniel Boob. Wabbit season, duck season, wabbit season, duck season, wabbit season, duck season, fire! You're despicable.
Sylvester's son.
Oh, father, afraid of a mouse. Oh, the shame of it all. It's more than one of my tender years can take.
Bugs Bunny and Beaky Buzzard.
And what's it you're looking for, Doc?
It was don't tell me. It was rabbit.
All right, Doc, you got me, but you better let me freshen up a bit first, huh? A buzzard is two-faced, a gonial thing that'll lead you to sing. Da-hoy, da-hoy, da.
Porky Pig.
I think that's all.
Okay, I didn't even know that was available, so in any event, but I went through that and, as I was saying, even though this makes it look even more suspicious, I just don't know what's the reason for these deaths, and I think it's money. And I think, like I said, I don't think there's money there, so the only place I think it could come from was life insurance, but I don't know, man. I just don't know. It's so strange. But in one of Kay Vallow's early posts, this was actually December 21st. This is the day after they issued a missing persons report for JJ and Tylee Ryan. Okay, she put out this description of sort of the circumstances surrounding her brother's death and JJ going missing, and they put out the missing persons bulletin or missing persons report the Rexburg Police Department did on December 20th. If you recall in my last video, it was the day after this where I was showing that Kay Vallow Woodcock and her husband Larry Woodcock were in Princeville, Hawaii. It shows from their Facebook check-in, section that they were in Princeville, Hawaii, on December 22nd, the day after this. And Princeville, Hawaii was where Charles Vallow and Lori Vallow spent a short period of time. And I was talking about various properties that come up under their names, individual addresses. 4 different ones where when I looked into it, it didn't look like they owned those properties. And they're very, very, very expensive properties. $2.3 million, $1.6 million, $1.2 million, $1.3 million. And I assume they were renting them, but that's extremely expensive too, to the best of my knowledge. And they were only there for a short time, from late 2014, December 2014, to maybe August or a little bit later, 2015, before they returned to Arizona, I believe. In any event, in this long post where she's basically describing a lot of things, she talks about the day her brother went to go pick up JJ, the day he was shot and killed, when he went to go pick up JJ from Lori's house in Chandler, Arizona. Okay, and there was only 3 people. Lori was there, JJ was there, Tylee was there, and her brother was there, Alex Cox, and then Charles Vallow was there when he went to go pick up JJ. And actually, Charles Vallow was staying at a hotel while he was in Chandler, Arizona, because he had moved back to Texas in this time, and he was just staying at a hotel for like 3 weeks while he was there, immediately prior to this incident, and including the day that this incident happened. And in this description, she says Charles did his best to save the marriage. She's explaining that, they remained married, even though he had filed for divorce and a bunch of other stuff. Everyone knows about, most people know about it. Charles did his best to save the marriage, of which she had no interest. On July 11th, 2019, in Chandler, Arizona, Charles went to Lori's home, which he paid for, to get JJ and take him to school. She and her brother Alex were there. Alex shot Charles twice in the chest, killing him, claiming self-defense. 4 people were there that day, Lori, Alex, and these 2 missing children. So, and that's the house where the incident took place. I mean, this is the news reports, and it's all reported that on the 5500 block of South, I even already forget, of South Peak something. I I looked up the address, believe me, but that's the house, okay? And it's just as well that I don't get too specific, but I looked up who owned that house, and it's not Charles Vallow. He did not own this property, and you can see the ownership history. So, they were probably renting, I guess, another. But that's pretty expensive rent for a sizable house like that. But and maybe that's what this is suggesting, that he paid for, like he paid the rent, but he didn't own it. Okay, and so there was just that, and then I decided to look up Charles's, because he was in Texas. I think in Austin was where he was living, maybe Houston. Those are the two places where he either lived or did business. And there's two addresses, and one in each city that comes up. And when you look up those addresses, he did not own those addresses either. And you can see who owned the properties that come up under the addresses. One in Houston, one in Austin. And so he must have been renting there as well, I assume. I'm not using the most sophisticated searches to do these things, but these are specific addresses that come up when you search his name in Austin and Houston. And just like this property, they aren't owned by Charles Vallow. So I just don't know that he was doing that well. And so I don't know what I come back to the fact that, like, if he was doing well, why wouldn't you just divorce him and take half the money? And I mean, what's the motive behind these deaths? Charles Vallow, Tammy Daybell, these are all being investigated as suspicious deaths, and maybe it'll turn out that none of them are suspicious. And Alex Cox, who died last after everybody. After Tammy Daybell's body was exhumed the day after. I mean, would you, if, let's say, like, and he was involved with Joseph Ryan, the incident shocking him with the stun gun. I mean, let's say people, they suspect him, that he's behind this, and that that he's the one who's doing the killing for Lori Vallow. I'm not saying that that's true. I'm just saying, let's say people suspect that. But Tammy Daybell that's almost an impossibility. I mean, Chad Daybell was with Tammy Daybell the night she died. According to him, she went to bed coughing with a bad cough. I just don't see Alex Cox inside, Chad Daybell's house doing it again, and then dying, and then himself being taken out of the equation the day her body gets exhumed. That's why I keep coming up with this idea that there's something else going on here. And the only place I can put my finger on where the money's coming from, because it doesn't seem like there's a lot of money there to begin with, is life insurance. And I just noticed something just as I was preparing to upload this. And, I even asked my wife, like, how old she thought that person was there in that video, where he's doing Looney Tunes voices. She said 40s or whatever. And then I showed her this, and she said maybe 50s. And, but she wasn't sure, and neither am I. And I have no idea, because it didn't make sense to me that Lori Vallow's brother would be 51, especially if that was, him, and that was even remotely recently, and maybe that is. But I don't know. There's something about those two pictures. They look distinctly different, and if it's 10 years apart, 15 years, okay. But I don't, there's something that I don't know if that's illness or if it's drugs or something else, but they just look different to me, distinctly. Maybe I'm overthinking it, but I don't think so. And then I noticed as I was uploading, this YouTube video is from June 2016. That's just from 3.5 years ago, man. So in 3.5 years, this changed from this to this. And I don't know, man. There's a reason that in that change in appearance, unless I'm just overthinking it, in 3.5 years. And it's either illness or drugs or something, you know. But I just noticed that date right now. But previous to that, I thought these were 10 years apart, you know, if that. I mean, like, you know, or more. And that's the story there, dude. That's the story there. Thanks for watching my videos. Please subscribe to my channel. Give me a like down below. I'll see you in the next video. Later, man.